So I'm one of the producers, David Higgins, along with my fellow producers of the movie Gallows Hill. So Gallows Hill is a story that is about a family that along a journey, their car goes off the road, they seek shelter in a house, and in this house they find a little girl trapped downstairs in the basement in a box. And they let this little girl out of the box. And it turns out they should not have done that. And things go very, very bad from there. So this was a story that years ago I had done a movie called Hard Candy that was all contained in one house. And a friend of mine, Richard DeVideo, the writer, came to me and said, let's do another movie like that, but let's make it a horror genre movie. And so he pitched me an idea for Gallows Hill, and we worked on it together, and he went off and wrote the script. And it was a good script, but it felt a little familiar because it took place in America, it took place using the Salem witch trials and kind of the New England witch mythology, and it felt a little familiar. And a few years later, we showed it to Peter Block, and Peter got very excited about doing it in a foreign country. We talked for a while about, should we maybe even make this as a foreign movie and make it completely foreign with no American actors, and then remake it in America? And then we decided that was kind of one step too far. So we decided it would be fun to actually take the movie and set it in a foreign country with an American family going to a foreign country. And I had actually been to Colombia a few years prior to that and knew kind of a sense of what they could do down here and thought it would be a great approach to say, let's set this movie in Colombia. And so we showed it to our partners down here, RCN and Innova, and they really responded to it. So we set out to find a Spanish director, or somebody who spoke from the Spanish language, world of Spanish language. And we found this director, Victor Garcia, who comes from Spain, from Barcelona, who had done some really cool horror genre movies before. And so once we attached him and committed to it, we knew it was a matter of, say, finding a couple of American actors to be the leads, but then this great supporting cast of Colombian actors. So once we kind of found Peter Facinelli, who's our lead, and Sophia Miles, who's our female lead, we found Natalia Ramos, who plays their daughter. And then we came down to Colombia, and there's this amazing talent pool down here, so we were able to cast the rest of the movie all Colombian. And so the fun of the movie for us is that it's a movie that takes place with Americans in a foreign country where the language barrier becomes part of the obstacle. So our audience, the people who are only English speakers, will kind of have the same feeling that David, our lead character, does, of there are moments in the story where they won't really know what's going on. And there's a great moment in the story we love where David and the old man who lives in the house are having a conversation. The old man is just telling him, if you only can do the right thing, we can fix everything right now. If you don't, you're all going to die. But David doesn't speak Spanish, and so bad things happen. So I guess the rule of thumb is you should probably learn to speak Spanish. So Victor had done a great short film a few years ago called El Ciclo that got him on everybody's radar in Hollywood, and he ended up directing a direct-to-video sequel for Return to House on Haunted Hill, and then that got him a job doing another sequel for the Mirrors movies, Mirrors 2, and then he decided that he was kind of getting typecast as a guy who did direct-to-video movies, so he went back to Spain and started working on other projects. And I had met him years ago and really liked him. And so when the opportunity came up and we were looking for somebody from the world who could do horror genre and came at it with a point of view, a Latino point of view, he was one of the people on our short list. And so Victor immediately responded to the script. He immediately did storyboards for one of the key sequences. He really pitched himself hard. And we met several directors, but Victor was the guy we really responded the most to. And he's done a great job because Victor comes from a world of prosthetics and understanding kind of how special effects works. And that's been, even though we're not a heavy prosthetics, heavy visual effects movie, it was key to having a director who understood how to do that. So the cast, we have Peter Facinelli playing David, Sophia Miles playing Lauren, and Natalia Ramos playing Jill, who are kind of our three American actors, even though those three American actors, Peter is actually American, Sophia is British, and Natalia's parents are Australian and Spanish, and I think she holds 2 or 3 passports. So we have an interesting mix right there. But they've all been great, and casting Natalia was actually the tricky part, because we needed to find an actress who felt like an 18-year-old teenager, but who also felt like she was, an American father and a Colombian mother, and had to be bilingual as well as a great actress. So we had a big casting search before we found Natalia. Peter we loved. I think he was the first actor we chased, and we were lucky to get him. And Sophia kind of dropped into our laps. Her agent called us one day and said, Sophia's looking for something like this, and we said she'd be perfect. So that was our main cast, and then once we got down to Colombia, Sebastian Martinez, who's also fantastic, who's got like experience in stage and theater and movies and TV, and we found this amazing actor, Gustavo Engarita. So we found this amazing actor, Gustavo Engarita, who's been doing movies in Colombia for like 40 years, and I think he stayed in character the entire time. I don't think he ever broke character the entire time until he rapped. So he was the most beloved by the cast of everybody because he was like in character as the grumpy old man the entire time. So we met 30 or 40 actresses before we found this great young actress, Julieta Salazar, who I think was only 11 or 12, maybe 10 when we shot the film. And unique for a young actress, truly understood how to be still and scary and actually really hold the screen. And I think she's a fantastic find. So very happy with the cast, both, our worldwide cast. We have American, British, Australian, Spanish, and Colombian. So we've kind of cast a wide net here for our cast. So making a movie in Colombia has been interesting because it's something, anytime you go someplace around the world where you've never done it before, there's a learning curve for you as well as the crew there, because you're used to doing it in a certain way, the crew is there used to doing it in a certain way. And so there's always a learning curve. But what we found is the crew down here was fantastic. We have an amazing DP. The film looks beautiful. We had a great costume department, great art department. Overall, the crew was really fantastic, and they found this house out about 45 minutes outside of Bogota that they set decorated. And we walked in the house and we said, "This is amazing, it's perfect." And then they looked at us and said, "No, we did all this." So they had set decked the entire house to make it look exactly as it was written in the script. So it was pretty amazing that they had done that. We had a special effects crew who had rain bars around the house, for I think 20 of our 23 days. So we had constant rain. These guys were like creating effects all the time. It was a great crew. We had, again, when you're making a movie, a low budget movie, you're going very fast, and these guys kept up with us the whole time. So it was a really good experience. And shooting Colombia was great because on our days off, we actually got to go around Bogota and go be tourists and actually see parts of Bogota that you want to see when you're actually here on vacation.